why does the president trust you so much? For him, can you imagine for him to say, I want Laura Loomer to come to the White House and sit down and brief us on this? Is it loyalty? Is it consistency? Is it credibility? Is it disruption? Why do you think that is?
I don't want to speak for the president, but I know that President Trump really values loyalty, and I've always been loyal. There's a lot of people out there who like to say, oh, I've been loyal since day one. And, a lot of people owe their careers to Trump. And I've seen you talk about this too. Like, you have the woke right now. A lot of these people who are attacking President Trump and saying he's not America first and, calling him out, saying that he's a puppet for Israel. People that are just bad-mouthing him, they owe their entire career to Donald Trump. These people wouldn't be anything without Donald Trump putting them on the map and blowing them up. So you have a lot of ingrates in the Republican Party and a lot of people that have turned on him. I mean, look at Ron DeSantis, right? He owes his entire political career to Donald Trump. And then Ron DeSantis completely stabbed him in the back and ran for president and spent $500 million running against him in the middle of all the indictments and the arrest and, just political persecution. So I think that it has to do with loyalty, but also, too, I'm very aggressive. I'm a very, very aggressive person, which is why a lot of people have very strong feelings about me. Some people like me. Some people, I don't really think people like me. They either love me or they hate me. It's not like a lukewarm feeling, right? It's not like, oh, yeah, I kind of like you or I kind of don't. People either really love me or they hate me. And you'll probably see this in the comments for this podcast, too. So I don't really go along to get along. And maybe President Trump sees part of himself in me. Again, I don't want to speak for him, but he's always telling me that he trusts me.
Do you think you're...
I think he trusts me. I would assume.
Listen, if he invites you to the White House and 6 people this is the video that we all watch. Can you play this video, Rob? This is CNN reporting on Waltz after being fired after a Laura Loomer meeting. That's literally what the description says.
Advisor Mike Waltz just got on Marine One with President Trump, but both of them declined to answer shouted questions about the several National Security Council staffers who were abruptly ousted from their jobs.
If you go to that house in the back, that's white.
President Trump had with
and
the far-right activist
right
Laura
there. That's
Loomer.
You right there.
Yes, she's the person who before has said things like 9/11 was an inside job and other conspiracies that she's spread.
Pause it right there. You have, and that's Lutnick giving you a hug. I mean, you got influence with them. So who do you think anybody on his team is more loyal to him than you are?
I don't know. I mean, look, I can't speak for them, right? I can only speak for myself, but I would definitely say that I'm more loyal than certain people who work for him. He does have a lot of loyal people who work for him, but look, I don't want to disparage them, but I would say that I've certainly been with President Trump a lot longer than some of the people who work for him have, and that's a fact.
Got it. Were you disappointed that he didn't get a job when he got in the White House?
Well, I did get a job. That's the thing. So I did. I got hired 4 times by President Trump, and that was actually mentioned and confirmed.
2024?
Yeah.
Okay. What were the jobs?
So I was hired first in 2023 to work on his campaign, doing research, opposition research and communications. And then there was a huge New York Times story, you could pull it up, in 2023 about, Trump hires Laura Loomer to work on his campaign. And then the staff leaked it to the New York Times because there are people who don't like me and they're jealous, and they tried to blow that up. And then multiple times again on the campaign, like after he won the primary, he told me that they floated me for a press secretary. Believe it or not, there was a Daily Mail article that was written about that recently. Like President Trump had a conversation with me on his plane during the campaign about how he would, potentially want me to be his press secretary.
So I'm
not making this up. So there's literally a Daily Mail article about this. It came out like 3 weeks ago. A Daily Mail article about, his first choice for press secretary. And look, I like Karoline Leavitt. I think she's doing a fantastic job. So there's no jealousy or animosity there. I think she does a fantastic job as press secretary. But he did present that as an opportunity to me in the Daily Mail. You could see that too, the controversial MAGA star that Trump floated for Karoline Leavitt's job and why she didn't get the gig. And they said I didn't get the gig because there's certain people who work for Trump who, said, well, we don't think that she should have that position. And there's a quote in there about how Trump was on the plane and he asked his staff, what do you guys think? Do you think that Laura would be a great press secretary? I think she'd be great. So again, communications, opposition research, and then first floated for press secretary. And then I was told that I would be and I actually haven't ever announced this publicly, so I guess you're going to get the scoop here. I was offered the position of RNC research director, and he personally called Michael Whatley, the head of the RNC, and told him to make me the research director for the Republican Party.
What happened?
Michael Whatley told the president that he was going to do it, and he never did. And apparently, from what I was told, is Michael Whatley freaked out and said that he didn't want me on his FEC report.
Got it.
Because,
Michael Whatley didn't do what the president told him to do? That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a conversation with Sergio Gore and the president and Michael Whatley, and he didn't listen. So I was supposed to be the RNC research director, and that didn't happen because Whatley, I guess, decided that he didn't want me on the RNC FEC report. And for those watching that don't know what an FEC record is, it's like the public disclosures for who's getting paid and, who's working there.
And he didn't want to put that on the disclosure. He didn't want to disclose that on the report.
He didn't want me working as the RNC research director because he said that it would create a media backlash if I was on their FEC report. That's what I was told.
Because
like
you
Michael
would know
Whatley, Michael Whatley had told me on the phone privately after the conversation with President Trump that it was going to happen, and then he never called me again.
So is he still on the inside or no? Is he still the party chair?
He's still at the RNC.
Wow. So he still is. Okay. Is he?
So that was the third job, and then the fourth one was. So again, I was offered like some kind of research role, but then also to advising on Panama. So I was told that I could work at the State Department advising on Panama. That was the fourth job. And that was because, a lot of my work helped influence the Panama policy. The president talking about taking back the Panama Canal. I'm the person who told President Trump in 2023 and 2024 during the presidential election, there's a CCP invasion taking place in the Darien Gap. When I went down there and I was in the jungle with, just basically in the jungle in these migrant camps by myself with Michael Yon exposing all this, endangering my life. I could have been kidnapped or raped by some of these Tren de Agua gangbangers there. I mean, I'm not exaggerating this. It's very dangerous to go down there. There's no security whatsoever.
You went by yourself with one person?
I went with Michael Yon and his team. But we were in the migrant camps, and it was in the jungle, and we were able to get access, and I was uncovering the fact that they had Chinese camps there where they were facilitating the CCP invasion of America through the Darien Gap. I exposed a lot. I exposed how they were using Starlink to facilitate their illegal alien invasion. I mean, there was so much that I uncovered. I hopped on a bus in the middle of the night that was trafficking Somali and Angolan illegal aliens to Costa Rica from Panama, the Darien Gap, who were headed towards the United States of America. And they were all infected with some kind of disease at the time. And you could literally hear the woman, because I speak Spanish on the bus, and I was like translating all this in Spanish and speaking in Spanish. And the president saw my reporting. And he called me on the presidential campaign, and we were talking about this, and it became part of his platform, right, to take back the Panama Canal. Because I was explaining how the Chinese and the CCP were encroaching on the Panama Canal, and how when you first land in Panama, the first thing that you see, and I sent these photos to Marco Rubio and President Trump, the photos that show that, the airport has a giant sign that says "Welcome to Panama," and it's in Chinese lettering. And it says the Bank of China. They actually took that sign down before Marco Rubio arrived to Panama. And you'll see that, Marco Rubio was able to get the president of Panama to agree to not participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. Well, who do you think gave Marco Rubio and President Trump those photos and those videos of the Chinese taking down those signs? I am. I'm the person who did that. So I was supposed to work with the State Department in some capacity, advising on Panama, advising with the ambassador to Panama. His name is Kevin Cabrera, a personal friend of mine. He was the former Florida State Director. None of this has been reported in the media. And those are 4 jobs that I was offered by the president that were basically stolen from underneath me by jealous staffers. Yeah, so that's 100% true. In the profile piece, I sent those photos to the president.
You send those 2 photos to the president?
Yes. So everything that I'm saying is checking out. It's not like I'm not even looking at the screen right now. I'm telling you this and you're pulling it up. And what did I tell you? It says welcome. It says Bank of China, right? Everything I'm saying is checking out. says, "Welcome to Panama, Bank of China."
Panama is with great speed attempting to take down the 64% of signs which are written in Chinese. They're all over zone because China controls Panama Canal. Panama is not going to get away with this. By the way, a big part
I was on the phone with the president when he typed out that Truth Social post.
You were on the phone when he typed out this Truth Social?
Yes.
Okay.
He was sitting in the Oval Office with Marco Rubio when he typed that.
So I just watched the Roger Stone's documentary for the second time. I'm sitting there with my wife and I wanted my kids to watch this documentary, so I put it in. Get me Roger Stone. And
I love Roger.
yeah, and I know you guys said something. That's actually not where I'm going. My question with you is when I'm watching everything you're saying, remember the time that in a documentary, Trump fired Roger. Roger's like, no one fired me. I quit. That whole back. I don't know if you've seen the documentary.
Oh, yeah,
There's
no,
an
I've watched
exchange
it a
there.
million times. Yeah, great documentary.
I almost feel like, your trajectory. Well, you weren't a lobbyist, but your trajectory is like you're creating enemies outside of Trump that Trump trusts you, but in order for you to get a job on the inside that's publicly announced, that's an official job, you got to kind of win some people over. If you don't, you're never going to have that happen to you. And, so that's kind of what happened with Roger. Trump probably liked getting his insight and feedback that he gives on different angles because of who he is. People like you, Roger, are wired in a very different way. There's an element of fearlessness in there.
Yeah, and I will say, a lot of my skills and a lot of what I know today is because of Roger. He's one of my closest friends, and he's a mentor of mine. I've known Roger since I was 18 years old, and I'm now 32.
So would you say you're kind of following that?
Yeah, I mean, Roger is somebody who has, been with me from the beginning. And like I said, I call my two mentors are Roger Stone and James O'Keefe.
So 14 years will be what, 2011? What was happening in 2011? Why were you involved? Because 2011, Obama's president. So how did you get into
I had
the
just
Roger?
moved to Florida. I was 18, and I had moved to Florida for college after I originally did a semester at Mount Holyoke, which is a women's college.
Wow.
And I just, it was a great school, but I couldn't handle all of, the liberal indoctrination. So I left. I mean, Mount Holyoke was basically considered Harvard for women when Harvard was all men. So great school. I had a 4.0 GPA. It's not like I couldn't keep up with it. It was very expensive, and I just didn't want to pay all that money to be indoctrinated. So I moved to Miami and started working full-time, took over the College Republican Club, and Roger used to go and speak to different Republican clubs, and Fort Lauderdale is not too far from Miami. So I would drive up and I would go to his talks. He used to host these, like cigar nights and different events at different Italian restaurants and whatnot, where he would speak to different, it's like meetups, right? And he was always very accessible. You could see Roger walking around in Fort Lauderdale all the time. It's not like he was hard to reach. And we started following each other on Instagram and just started messaging each other, and we became friends. And I started going to his events. And then when I started working for James O'Keefe, sometimes Roger would stop by the office too in Project Veritas. But yeah, no, a lot of I'd say that a lot of the dark arts tricks that I've learned over the years are from Roger Stone.
The stuff he did is just epic. What things he did, and some of it backfired on him, and they did it on him, but.
Yeah, he's an icon.
He's an icon when it comes down to the space and what he did.
And we wouldn't have President Trump today if it weren't for Roger Stone.
I don't think
really,
so. Yeah.
Roger Stone is the person. I mean, there's a lot of people that love to say, oh, I was there from Trump since the beginning. Trump's president because of me.
No.
If there's one person that can say
70s,
Trump is
80s.
president, and really I'm not even talking 2015, 2016, I'm talking the 80s. The first time that President Trump first started talking about running for president is Roger Stone. So Roger deserves a lot more respect and credit than I think he gets.
I don't think he's going to get it, though, because he does what you do. It's tough to me, he has mine, because I respect the game that he's got. It's tough to be Roger, because you're going to be backstabbed many times, and you kind of, Roger's the one you want to call and talk to, but you want to make sure nobody else wants to know if you're president. Like, who'd you talk to? Nobody. This is my intel. No. You called Roger because Roger's going to look at the world in a different way, and it sounds like that's kind of you. But you're the social media era of Roger.
Hey, everybody. Laura Loomer here. I'm so excited to finally announce that I've joined Minnect. So please be sure that you connect with me on Minnect. I can't wait to chat with you, whether it be about politics, investigative journalism, or if you just want to talk to me about your furry friends and how you too can get involved in my passion of animal rescue. Whatever it is, I can't wait for you to connect with me on Minnect. So be sure that you contact me today.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.